So welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a quick follow along tutorial for the project we are doing this week in class. This week we're going to be working on a wax resist painting with some texture. So supplies we'll need will be our paper, a white crayon or white oil pastel. You could also use color crayons if you wish to. We're also going to need some watercolor paint. So we will need a paintbrush, some water, and a paper towel as well. So we talked about some descriptive words before we started this project today. We want to create some lines that mimic those descriptive words. Now, if you're using white crayon and white oil pastel, you won't be able to see it right away on the paper, but once we get to the watercolor wash, it will all come through. And as you can see here with the oil pastel, you can see it a little bit better on the paper than the white crayon. So once we have our lines on the paper, we do want to get our watercolors ready to go. If you don't know how to use your watercolors, I did make a watercolor tutorial so you can learn how to make a watercolor wash for this project. So remember, we do want to start with water before we touch any of the paint. You can go in a horizontal direction or a vertical direction. The example shown at the beginning of the video is a horizontal direction. I'm going to be using a vertical direction for this portion of the video though. So once I get some water and some color on the paper, then I'm going to go over those colors with water and I'm going to thin it out to a nice light color. And also by adding water, it's going to give me more paint and move it farther across the paper for me. Now you guys can choose any colors you want. I'm going to stick with cool colors. So I'm going to be using purple, blue, and green for this project. But you guys can use any of the watercolors that you have in your palette in any order that you'd like. Just remember that we are making a wash, so we don't need a lot of color, but what we do need is a lot of water. So we want to get some color on our brush, add the color to the paper, and then add more water to the paper to thin that color out so we can cover the entire paper without having to use a lot of paint. So as I'm finishing up here, I'm just gonna add a little bit more water to my paper. And as you can see, we have magically made our white crayon and white oil pastel pop off of the paper. That's because the water and the oil don't mix, so they resist each other. So that is how we get our wax resist picture. Now, once my paper is dry, I'm going to move on to the texture portion of this project. So I'm going to provide you with some already pre-cut construction paper pieces. You guys are just going to pick the colors you want and add them to your painting. So you will need a glue stick and your construction paper pieces. They're going to be different shapes, different colors. You guys choose what you want to. I'm going to be using warm colors on top of my cool colors. These can be placed anywhere on your paper, anywhere on your picture. They can overlap. You can build with them to create more texture. So this part's going to be completely up to you. And I'm just going to show you an example of what I'm going to do here. And I'm just going to speed it up a little bit so we can get through the video. And that's going to do it for our wax resist and textured pictures this week.